Are we using these arguments fairly? Are we? Or are we being biased with this? I could keep going on and on. Every conflict results in people unnecessarily dying, and no one's happy with it. No one's okay with it. No one. But it doesn't invalidate the movement. Because if we're saying that this movement is invalid, because a small segment of it riots and loots, and it's unacceptable, right? If we're saying that, then we have to invalidate every conflict in the world. And I don't think that's an argument that people want to stand on. So that's pretty much all I got. Anything else you want to add?
No.
I'm, to be honest, a bit numb seeing people who look like me and my family killed by the police with basically no consequences.
In February 1999, 4 New York City police officers were on patrol in the Bronx when they saw a young black man standing on a stoop. They thought he looked suspicious. When they pulled over, he retreated into the doorway and began digging in his pocket. He kept digging as the police shouted at him to show his hands. A few seconds later, the man, Amadou Diallo, a 23-year-old immigrant from Guinea, was dead, hit by 19 of the 41 bullets that the police fired at him. What Diallo was reaching for was his wallet. He was going for his ID as he stood on the steps of his own apartment building. Diallo's story and the officer's fatal prejudgment of him is recounted in Malcolm Gladwell's 2005 bestseller, Blink.
Someone actually had messaged me and they said, Abba, I know you guys are covering a lot of racial topics, but I know with everything going on, it's so much, but I just wish things could go back to normal. What's so funny?
You're covering a lot of racist things, you know what I mean? But I wish things would go back to normal. It's pretty normal. That's just what it strikes me is all this is pretty fucking normal.
That's fair.
To go back to normal, it's the norm. It's just people are saying something about it, but it's like, what was normal? Nothing was ever normal.
Yeah. Yeah, these things were just happening. They just weren't on your screen.
I'm good. I'm much better now. I think when, everything first hit, it wasn't easy to deal with, especially with, having this kind of feeling where it's just like, why am I used to this?
And we've lived with it for long enough. So I'm glad to see that the national response has been strong.
Here's the thing. I don't want to cover this stuff. I don't want to talk about race. I don't want to cover incidents with police officers.
Nope.
Man, I just want to laugh at cringy stuff, talk about vulnerability and masculinity and all these other topics that I find are interesting. That's all I want to do. All right, I want to post stand-up stuff. That's all I care. But unfortunately, we live in a world where if we don't repost or discuss a tragic event, nothing happens.
Black Lives Matter hashtag is not something new. It didn't just break out in 2012 after the murder of Trayvon Martin by George Zimmerman. It didn't just break out then. Like, it's been happening. It's just that the hashtag was formulated then. But police brutality, just injustice and things like that have been happening way before that. And I think, obviously, historically, we know that it feeds all the way back to the days of slavery.
All right, take Breonna Taylor. With that no-knock warrant, cops go in there thinking there's going to be, narcotics. They don't find anything. The people inside the residence didn't know it was cops, so they start using their Second Amendment and firing back. Breonna, the medic, she's killed. And now, because of all the uproar, because everyone's been so loud about it, they are banning no-knock warrants. But without that kind of social media presence, without us having to constantly hear these stories and constantly repost things, that kind of legislative change doesn't happen. And it's unfortunate, but we've been quiet about a lot of these topics for a long time, and it's led us here.
No matter the amount of evidence, no matter the lives lost, the excessive force used, there's no way to win.
So the idea that by not talking about it, things will sometime go back to normal. Maybe normal is cool for you. Maybe normal sounds great to you. But for us, our sense of normal isn't the best. And I think the way we move forward as a world, as societies, is that we address our blind spots. We fix our problems and we all move forward together. But it makes no sense to me to not discuss these things because I just don't sleep well if I don't. It's important for us to engage in these conversations, no matter how uncomfortable, no matter how redundant. Maybe there's another voice that hasn't heard this perspective. Maybe there's another person who needs to hear it from this perspective.
And I told you already. I told you before, like I was not like I really didn't like the public outrage thing. I didn't like that. I'm like, it doesn't work. What are you doing that for? You're protesting for what? What is it? What was gonna happen? I was one of those people. And then I saw what happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was dead wrong because the outrage worked. That's the reason why people are being held accountable. Public outrage. I really was not for it, but then they proved me wrong.
Yeah.
I just want to say, because I know a lot of my audience isn't black, and I may be like one of the only black people that you even know or listen to, I have dealt with racism all my life, and it's very much not gone. Contrary to what some people believe, it's not. It's very much here, and if you don't see it, you may just be blind to it, and that's a privilege that you may have.
Your parents telling you at like an age of like 12, or make sure, you know, you're in the right place at the right time. You don't want to, you know, be endangered, or if the police comes, you know, put your head down and, you know, don't look into their eyes, because these are such uncomfortable conversations that my parents were having with me at such a young age. And yeah, so I think the best way to put it is like, you know, white people benefiting from an institution, a system, and just like a lifestyle that even they are not necessarily aware of, like, you know, things such as your surname being able to just get you into the interview.
Black Lives Matter. I love you.